Let's get to the big kahuna, the thing that everybody's ticked about. You guys ready? Let's do it. Well,
let's do it.
Finally happening, and
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it, right?
not just the $50 like last time. This is the biggest price jump I think we have seen for a console maybe ever. When the numbers first leaked yesterday, I dismissed them. I thought they were way too high. I thought they were fake. So in case you missed it, PlayStation has officially announced a huge price increase for the PS5 Digital, the base PS5, the PS5 Pro, and the PlayStation Portal. Now, for the sake of brevity, I am just going to use the US dollar price changes. Sorry, UK, and particularly sorry to Europe.
Yeah, dismissed it, of course. Yeah. Usually rumors are like these guys' lifeline, right? But when he heard that rumor, he said, no, this can't be true.
You guys are getting taken to the cleaners on this one. So here are the new prices.
Brother, they're getting taken to the cleaners in America, too. He's over here. You guys in Europe, right? Don't get me wrong. I do know that it's higher over there, but brother, it's still high. Shit, you guys were getting taken to the cleaners before the price increases, and you got behind that shit and you capped for it. You know.
The PS5 Digital will be $599. The PS5
You said, let's see when Xbox raised their prices if it hijacks a week. Oh, you know it will.
will be $649. The PS5 Pro will be $899, and the Portal will be $249. So yes, you're looking at a digital PS5 for $600, $650 for the non-digital, and then the Pro a whopping $900. Seeing
right, I just wanted to show you guys the whole, let's get to it, let's do it right now. Peep this shit, because this is where things get interesting when you guys, because he's gonna sit here and ramble a little bit.
It was just clear that there was a strategy shift at PlayStation. I think PlayStation is battening down the hatches for the impending economic struggles that everybody will be facing. I thought they had enough RAM and production for...
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting now how everybody's facing the RAM shortage prices, but you guys sure were up here.
Stop the fear-mongering.
You sure were fear-mongering, laughing at the PC guys, talking about, is it cheap, right? Talking about the PlayStation closing the gap, but now you guys understand that you're in the same boat. Now you guys finally can wrap your heads around the fact that your PlayStation, your consoles also need RAM, and no, Sony's not going to eat that cost. They're going to put it out on the loyal fans, right? Which I think is fucking scummy, but obviously you don't find that greedy.
Holiday of this year, which made me think, okay, we'll avoid a price hike until next year. Well, that was obviously and completely incorrect, which really drives the concern that this won't be the last price hike. So buckle up and settle in and try to get a PlayStation 5, a Pro, or a Portal before April 2nd when these prices increase.
Wow.
Now's the time to shell out the funds.
At least Marlon waited till like halfway in his stream to say, buy one right now. In his monologue, he's going to tell people.
Now's the time to shell out the funds.
Yeah, hurry up and whop out $750, right? While it's still cheap. You guys hear how dumb this shit is, man? And shout out to Ahawk, right? He says, this ain't matching the Xbox price raise energy. Not at all. W's in the chat for Ahawk, man. He's been a member for 4 months, right? I'm not seeing it at all either. That's a great point.
So you've got the weekend to scramble. I'm going to be taking...
Wow.
Now's the time to shell out the funds.
Crazy. So now you've got until the weekend to go buy one. Even when they raise up the prices, you're telling people to give them more money. This is what I mean when I say you guys failed this test. And don't get me wrong, I know all this shit is much bigger than Lono and everything, but I mean, this type of mind state, we're fucking cooked. And he wonders why people call him a shill and a boot kisser and everything, right? Mind you, this is a guy who's sitting here calling everybody a simp.
Taking my last base PS5 to GameStop and trading it in for a Pro because I've been... Be a good consumer.
Yeah. Sony raises the prices and you guys go out and buy and stock up on them.
I'm going to do that for a while. And...
yeah, because you know what's better than 2? 3, right? Get you 3 Pros, right? Definitely. I see the vision, Lono.
It's about to get really, really expensive. So like I say, buckle up.
It's been really, really expensive.
Up and settle in because after this, after April 2nd, it's going to be a bumpy and more expensive ride.
A more expensive ride. Interesting. And this nigga was crying about people paying $70 for CD, but want people to buy a PlayStation 5. Yeah, a PlayStation 5 Pro. He's saying hurry up and buy the $750 Pro before it gets real expensive, right? Like, okay.
Those are just my thoughts, and now it's time to hear your thoughts. 20-minute show open's not bad. I had to go through 4 stories very quickly. Do me a quick favor and go crazy on the like button. I got to get the member count up because Ginger's already over here doing stuff and slamming home gifteds and all of that. And hang on one second.
Yeah, get up the member goal.
Let me get out of studio mode. Let's get this up. We got to reset YouTube and reset Twitch. Okay, thank you, Jay Rain, for starting off the day. And a 10 bomb from Ginger. Han shot first, and so did you and Joker Quinn as well. And then over there on purple, Rain Waters hits 14 months. Thank you so much. He says good morning, and then Pork Pie says good morning, and he's got 12 months on the board. You guys are going to need to rally if you want to unlock the Saturday evening stream. We're sitting at 225 on a Friday.
Yeah, suffer, Lono, suffer. You idiot, right? You've been sitting here talking bad about Bungie, buddy. It seems like your PlayStation audience didn't take too kind to that. Suffer, right? And don't get me wrong, I like the Madam streams just as much as the next guy. But it's looking like you're gonna have to really scramble to hit that goal.
And that 500 is gonna be a tough climb today. You're gonna need to band together or pray to the big boy gifters. So,
wow. This is the guy who calls other people grifters, by the way. Listen to this shit.
You're gonna need to band together or pray to the big boy gifters. So,
pray to the big boy grifters. Yeah.
Where are you?
Whale Cole.
How you guys feeling? A $900 Pro. A $900 Pro. I thought for sure, I was like, oh, they'll do a price hike next year. They've got enough RAM to weather this year.
Oh, yeah, that's what Moore's Law's dad said, right? He said that they had gobs of it.
And then they'll bump it by like another 50. No, they bumped it by like what? Like 150? Each. I mean, the Portal's only going up by 50, but the consoles, it's just ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous, right? Okay, now listen to this shit. Oh, wow. Let me just let it play. I'm sorry.
UK prices in dollar? Yeah, if you buy it in pounds, it's $1,000 for the Pro. Isn't it worse in Europe, Paul? I think it's even worse in Europe, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? Apologize to Pearl Abyss. I'm not going to apologize to a company that lied and misled the public. They should apologize. They were dishonest. They lied multiple times. I called them out on their lies and their dishonesty. Fixing a game after launch, I'm not apologizing to a company that was misleading with its marketing. You bootlickers can find somewhere else to hang out.
Wow. You bootlickers, but wait a minute, right? I thought this was a bootlicker hangout spot.
Is this where the console losers hang out?
I mean, you're the one over here hand-waving Sony, raising the price to $900. You're the one telling people,
now's the time to shill out the funds.
Right? That's how you get to Sony, right? They raised the prices, right? But you went and told your audience to hurry up and go buy a fucking Pro.
Now's the time to shill out the funds.
But you want to call people bootlickers. Interesting, Lodo.
32 months from
crazy work, man. Crazy work, right? Now listen to this shit right here. Because he's gonna continue. He's gonna continue saying that this shit is not greedy.
For a digital PS5. Like, huh? MTO says this is just greed?
Yes.
You have to understand something, MTO.
No, he does not need to understand anything. He's a consumer, right? There's a product on the market. It's overpriced, right? They've raised the price. It was already overpriced. They raised the price. End of the discussion. What more is there to talk about, right? Is him understanding something? Is that going to make the price go down, Lono? What does he need to understand? Let's hear it, Mr. Logician.
That's not sufficient analysis. This isn't greed. They're gonna make, you understand they're gonna make less money by doing this, right? Malice One comes in with the 5 bomb for Twitch and secures the 250 for Twitch, and Rissick does a single. They're gonna make less money. On their earnings call last year, the reason that they were hesitant and the reason that they didn't want to do this, they make less money, brother. This isn't good for them. You have got to see that.
Yeah, well, tell that to them, right? They're over there saying, money. All right, it sounds good, Lono.
Less people will buy the device. They make more money.
And shout out to Bashi the Washi. He says, you have a huge set of stones to say, nigga, as a Philippine streamer, right? We need to support him before the ninja get him, chat. Oh, man, you guys are being bad faith. We started off the stream. I can say that word. I'm not gonna lie, right? I've been trying to refrain from using it and everything. You know what I mean? I don't want to get flagged or none of that nonsense, right? But you're very bad faith, very platitudinous. I'm a black man. I have dreads. Stop it.
Off of a person buying the device, because then they're in the ecosystem and they're buying games. And a single comes in from Rissick and a single comes in from Board Huff. And we're exactly 20 away from the next milestone. Dodeva's
Twilight Crucible is saying, then why are they raising the price? That's a great point, right? I guess they're doing it to lose money, dude.
Jumps in with a member plus and gets us to 256. Thank you so much, Dodeva's. What games benefit with the increase? No games benefit. That's what I'm saying. They're going to lose money in this. Less people buy the console. That's less people buying games. That's less people spending on microtransactions.
You're literally talking about how you're about to go get another Pro.
Guess who's back? Welcome back, Dodevas. The idea, you have to understand, the idea that like PlayStation was like chomping at the bit to do this, like greedily rubbing their hands together, like, ooh, I can't wait to raise the price.
I mean, brother, that's hyperbolic, right? I think they're greedy. They want to see the line go up. They're greedy, right? Instead of them goddamn subsidizing the shit, they're going to make you guys eat the cost. I guess that's just the price of equality. But you go ahead and you defend it.
The console, they didn't want to do this. They said last year.
They didn't want to do this. Oh, poor Sony. Poor Sony. They really held out as long as they could. They didn't want to do this. They didn't want to raise your prices. It fucking sounds good.
They were going to wait as long as they possibly could. They had shored up stock in the U.S. so they didn't have to. Thank you so much for the...
yeah, I guess that stock just ran out, dude.
Fi bomb, Mr. Dodevas. He's not just back for himself, he's paying it forward. Do you see? It's like, this is bad for the market. This is bad for the consumers. This is bad for PlayStation. This isn't good for anybody.
True.
They make less money. It's like they knew last year that when you got to consider something. They were going to bump it by $50 last year, and they waited until the very...
That's a good point. I see you guys saying, did Xbox want to do this, right? All I can say is a false equivalency. The whataboutisms, right? Great point. It's funny how we don't have these conversations whenever it's another brand with Lono, right? But let's just let them talk, right?
Last moment, they had shored up stock in the U.S. They're like, nope, we're not going to do it. We're going to hold, and then they finally do it for $50. They just did it for $150. You have got to think about the reality that this is creating, not just for PlayStation, but for every tech company that's having to do this. People are just uninformed when they start parroting corporate greed. I get it, but in this situation, you need to know what is going on in the world.
Wow.
And
I'll say the same shit I just said. Is knowing what's going on in the corporate world, right? Being an armchair dev and everything, an armchair board member, is that going to make the price cheaper for you?
AI centers for all this. Yeah, I mean, the economic realities added to and the RAM situation, it's just ridiculous. This doesn't...
Right. Okay. Now listen to this right here, because this is where shit gets interesting. It's already pretty interesting, I must say.
Stream with Madam Metallica Matt with 7 months over there on Purple. Thank you so much. You guys have got a ways to go. Just pure greed. It's not. Oh my gosh. Listen, you are not contributing to the conversation by calling this greed. They don't want to do this. They're going to make less money.
Oh, look at this sim. Look at this bootlicker. Yeah, PlayStation, they didn't want to do this, guys. They really were holding out as long as they could, right? But they were forced. Their hands were tied, right? You know, the billion-dollar corporation, right? There was nothing else they can do. They had to raise the price. I mean, this is just silly.
When you drive people away from purchasing your console, when you price people out of the hobby, you make less money. PlayStation is in the business of getting you in their ecosystem because then they make money off of every microtransaction and every purchase that you make. And a 5-bomb comes in from Grubby over there on Purple, and then a 10-month renewal from Jorge. Thank you so much, Mr. Jorge. You have to understand, it isn't greed. Like, people are going to say, oh, you're defending Sony. No. Yes.
Yes, you are, brother. And don't get me wrong. I do know that there is stuff going on with RAM prices and everything. But at the end of the day, none of us work for the corporation. We're consumers. At the end of the day, they're asking consumers to foot the bill. They're asking consumers to eat the cost. And you're sitting here defending it, trying to say, oh, don't call them greedy. Right? They're greedy. Accepted. All of the corporations are greedy, Lono. Why is it so hard for you to admit this, man? They did not want to do this? How did he know that? If that's the case, it's the same with Xbox. They did not want to do it. Exactly. But you haven't heard anybody say no stupid shit like that.
No, I'm not defending anybody. This is the reality that we're in. Is that companies are being faced with rising costs. They have to raise prices on us. When they raise prices on us, we buy less. When we buy less, they make less. And it can spiral to an even worse scenario because then they're going to say, well, we're making less, so now we need to raise the prices for the people who are actually spending money. So game prices could go.
I mean, Lono, you literally just said that earlier in your monologue that you're about to go out and buy another PlayStation Pro.
Up. Microtransaction prices could go up. Subscription fees could go up. They're going to make the money back. Explain how it's not greed.
Yes.
Greed is an oversimplification of the situation. Greed would be, well, we want to make more money off the console, so charge people more money. That's not what's going on. There's economic realities threatening their margins. They can't allow those margins to be threatened. They can't. Those margins...
yeah, they got to see that line going up, right? And they're going to ask you guys for more
money.
And thank God that you're on the front lines, you know, helping them with that cause. And this is why nobody takes your gaming coverage seriously. And it's so funny. It's good to have you back. All I can say is, welcome home, Lono, right? You've been on this whole, like, consumer advocate arc, and I'm be honest, you didn't do a good job. Everybody could see right through it, right? Welcome home, Lono. It's good to have you back.
Get threatened, and then guess what? They face shareholders, they face loss of jobs, they face way worse than just like, oh,
raise prices on people who buy things. So dynamic pricing, yes.
We've got consumers that are angry.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that they release the Pisser update and then a week later they announce a price increase across the board. Hey, listen, I've seen a lot of people talking about that as well. That's a great point.
This is not defense of Sony. If Sony wants to make more money, this is the worst way to go about making more money. You're driving people.
Oh yeah, asking for more money, right? Forcing people to pay more. That's the worst way to get more money.
Away from purchasing your hardware.
Yeah, their margins are my fucking problem. Thank you, man. Shout out to Bo Bottle. That's what I'm saying, right? Why are you trying to make people see it from their side, right? Like, brother, no one gives a shit about that. No one cares, right? This just sounds like cope, and this sounds like defense for Sony.
It is quite literally the worst thing they could do to make more money. That's the reality. It's like that last year when they were going to raise it by 50, they didn't want to. They were like, we've.
So there you have it, you guys. In Lono's world, whatever PlayStation raises the price, they didn't want to. Then how did it happen, right? They had a choice. They had a choice that they made, right? Because you guys wanted to give credit to them for holding off. Don't you think I don't remember? Right? Because you guys wanted to talk shit to PC guys when you seen that the prices of PC components were going up because of RAM. You guys wanted to pat them on the back when the prices didn't go up. You guys thought you were safe. But now that the prices go up, oh, it's because of RAM, yada, yada, yada. I thought Moore's Law is Dead said that they had gobs of it, right?
Stored up stock in the U.S. They were going to hold as long as they could. You sound like Defense Force right now.
Yes!
You sound like I don't want you hanging out anymore, Prosy. I can't stand your attitude and your intentional gaslighting. Just get the frick out, Prosy. Wow. You're not welcome. If he's in the Discord, kick him out there too. Twilight come.
Wow. Wow. Well, that escalated quickly. Mind you, that's one of his members. He said if he's in the Discord, kick him out too, right?
I hammer them.
Yeah, he's no longer allowed in the kingdom of PlayStation, right? He's not hand-waving price increases. Get him out of there. He's not hand-waving. He's not going with the script. One more time. You guys know how we do this. One more time from the top, Lono.
As long as they could. You sound like Defense Force right now. You sound like I don't want you hanging out anymore, Prosy. I can't stand your attitude and your intentional gaslighting. Just get the frick out, Prosy.
Yeah, get the frick
You're
out.
Not welcome. If he's in the Discord, kick him out there too.
Yeah, kick him out
Twilight coming in with a 10 bomb.
And make sure you change the locks. Oh, it looks like we got a 10 bomb.
Not welcome. If he's in the Discord, kick him out there too. Twilight coming in with a 10 bomb. That's right. Let's just push him out of the chat with a 10 bomb.
Wow. All I could say is
Hello. I like money.
Oh, he likes money, man. Shout out to Passy the Washy. I can almost see the semen covering his face. Pause, right? I mean, Lono, come up for air, brother. You're going to have to come up for air, Lono. I think it's very platitudinous that you're kicking him out of the Discord, right? Changing the locks.
Thank you.
One more time.
Coming in, Prosy. You're not welcome. If he's in the Discord, kick him out there too. Twilight coming in with a 10 bomb. That's right. Let's just push him out of the chat with a 10 bomb. Thank you, Twilight.
Push him out, yeah.
This is not.
Yeah. Push out this peasant, right?
I hammer them.
How dare he defy Lono? Lono's never wrong. Get him out of here. Push him out with the 10 bomb.
Defense Force. This is terrible. It's bad. It's bad for the consumer. It's bad for the companies. It's bad for the studios. That's not defense. If you want me to just sit here and do the ignorant diatribe, call it greed thing, there are plenty of other channels.
That's what it is. That's what it is, right? I don't think you have to be hyperbolic and do a whole stream,
Stop the fear mongering.
I mean, even though that's what you would have done with Xbox, right? I don't think you need to do that, but I mean, at least acknowledge that it's greed and that they're taking advantage of consumers, but you're not capable of doing that. That's why, like I said, whenever like pro-consumer comes up in the conversation, that's your cue to keep your mouth shut. Just zip it, right? Nobody wants to hear you do this consumer advocate shit, especially after all the shit that you were doing last week. You just stop it, Unc, right? That you're not that guy.
That you can watch and do that. You can do that anywhere else. You can. You can get that anywhere on YouTube. That's not informative. It's just, it's greed. It's greed. They're greedy. Okay, what do you want to say after we say that? Do you want to have an actual conversation? You're definitely defending Sony. When Microsoft did it, you bashed them? No, I did not. No, I didn't.
To be fair, right? Bastion the West says, can we find the stream of him when Xbox raised their prices? I mean, brother, like I said, I haven't even looked into that shit, but I somewhat do vaguely remember, to be fair, and I think they're even going to find a clip of when he talked about that shit. To be fair, he didn't. Honestly, this is going to throw you for a loop. Only some of you guys will remember who've been watching the channel for a minute, right? And shout out to Gamer Life Studio. He says, Lono is just a grumpy old man who can't play games. Yeah, that's a good fact, right? Shout out to Gamer Life Studio. That's exactly what he is. But I don't know if you guys remember, because I documented it when he was talking about the price increases. He actually didn't call them greedy when he did it. He did the same diatribe. And the reason why I remember it is because you guys were like SIGs, right? You guys were like SIGs. He's only doing that because he knows that PlayStation's going to do the same thing.
Come on, you should know this.
And here we are today.
Where did I bash Xbox for raising prices? Anytime hardware prices have gone up, what have I said?
You defended the corporation.
What have I said? I said everybody's doing.
I'll give him credit. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm telling you, anybody who's watching streams and documented, that is literally what happened. I kid you not.
It's the reality. There are headphones more expensive in the Asian market every month, right? There are motherboards and RAMs getting more expensive. I didn't bash Xbox at all. I didn't.
You definitely did bash Xbox, say that they're deprioritizing hardware and everything. But I'll be fair, right? Whenever it came to price increases and everything, Lono doesn't do that shit. Like I said, he will defend corporations asking for more
money.
That's why he shouldn't speak on shit being pro-consumer.
Like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this.
Wasn't it how Xbox was raising prices because they wanted to kill off their hardware? Yes, he was saying it was the whole Microsoft has entered the room, right? You guys remember that?
I said this is bad. I said this is bad for the consumer. I've never been like, oh, I can't believe Xbox is doing this. There's not a single clip of me saying that Xbox is bad for raising their prices. I wasn't.
Yeah. You usually defend corporations when they do that type of stuff.
Like, yep, they're greedy. They suck. I didn't say that about them because that's not what's going on. There's not a single time in the history of prices of hardware going up where I'm like, yep, they're greedy. I've always said it's not as simple as that. It's never been as simple as that. Silver Subaru, thank you so much for the gifted member. You're flat out lying at this point? No, I'm not. I have never taken that position. I've been consistent on this. It's never...
to be fair, he is. He is. Whenever there's like I said, when the corporations up the price, he will defend the corpo.
Never driven by greed. Like, yep, they're just greedy. I've always said every corporation is pro-profit, and they're going to do everything they can to protect their margins. So when
he has done that. He has done that, right? He does not believe that pro-consumer is a thing.
Go up. That's literally what is going on. There's not a single video on my content, on my channel. There's not a clip anywhere where I'm like, yep, Xbox bad, greed bad, they're greedy, they're raising prices.
There definitely are videos of you doing Xbox is bad, right? But I will be honest, he did hand wave them raising prices.
No. I don't talk like that.
You're right, you don't. You don't talk like that at all.
I literally don't talk like that. I've never, ever taken that position. I've always said this is a reality that all these companies are facing. Hardware prices are going up. All of the prices are going up. Inflation's going up. And guess what? They're going to raise the prices. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to drive demand down. I think all I said about Xbox, and I guess you could construe it as a negative if you're insecure and you've integrated with the brand, I've said
from this guy, from the guy who hand waves whenever corporations literally fuck over consumers, and he wants to talk about integrating with the brand, right? I think it's funny that you took down the whole Ghost of Yote mask and the sash and everything, right? It's almost like you watch the content. But very, very rich coming from you, Lono.
That it'll drive sales of their console lower and less people will buy them. You know what's funny? I said the exact same thing this morning about PlayStation. So, you know, when you keep it a buck and you don't lie and you just say the same thing about the companies in both avenues, I mean, go ahead and clip farm and try to contort things I've said in the past, I guess, into things I've never said. I said the same thing this morning. I said it's going to drive sales of the PlayStation down. Less people will buy the PlayStation because they raise the price. I said the same thing about Xbox. I said you raise the price, you're hurting demand. And Xbox was already struggling with demand. Their hardware was already in a steep decline, and then they raised the prices. I was like, well, you're just going to drive demand even further. I'm saying the exact same thing about PlayStation. It's like, this is terrible. You're going to drive demand down. Less people are going to buy it. Less people are going to buy the device.
Right, and I think he even ends up playing a clip of that shit later on, right? You guys will be able to see that shit. But he's going to continue to go on and defend this shit. 1 second. Yeah, wow, such a genius. Yeah, I know. These companies will fire employees to meet budgets, but they can't eat hardware prices. Exactly. Well, Lono understands how hard it is to be a billion-dollar corporation and to keep the lights on and everything. So, you know, he's saying, you know, have a little bit of sympathy for Sony, right? They didn't want to do this. They were forced to.
Are they doing good? Aren't they selling well already?
Yes. Yeah. Console sales, right? Their most successful generation. You talk about this shit all the time. You love flexing Sony's money, right? Because typically you're
like a PS5 cheerleader.
They're making all this money, right? They're selling all these consoles, right? But when push comes to shove and they want to see that line go up, they're taking it out on consumers, and you're hand waving the shit.
Yes, they 100% are selling well. They're on pace with PS4. Internally, when they didn't drop the price, like halfway through, they were glad and celebrating internally that they were maintaining pace with the PS4 without a price drop. They do not want to do this. I think that's what people don't understand. People are going to call me a pony and saying I'm defending them. I'm like, I'm not.
You are. You are by saying that they didn't want to do this. What the fuck does that even mean, right? Like they were forced to. Brother, at the end of the day, they did it. This is insane, right? What does that do for someone who's interested in getting a PS5 Pro, right? Does that make it easier for them to fork out $900, right? It was already way too damn expensive for $750, right? I mean, this is just insane.
I'm not defending them. They don't want to do this. They will sell less PlayStations. Demand for their product will go down.
Shit, we'll see.
Their stock price might even drop today, I would bet. Because the market knows this is bad. The shareholders know, consumers are going to react poorly to this. They're going to react poorly to this. This is a hit that they're going to take. This is not something they are not internally celebrating and popping champagne like, oh yeah, we get to raise our prices, haha. We get to make consumers angry today.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're sitting around crying their eyes out. So upset that they had to raise the prices. I'm sure they really didn't want to have to do that, right? And shout out to Gamer Life Studio. They didn't want to do it, dumbass. They did what now, right? They didn't want to do it, dumbass. They did what now? I don't even know, right? Shout out to Gamer Life Studio. Shout out to Gamer Life Studio. He just is gonna keep on falling back onto that whole, they didn't want to do this. They didn't want to do this. I don't know.
Money.
All right, it seems like they did it though.
That's not celebratory for them. Yo, thank you for the $2 super chat, Dragon King. He says some of these morons don't understand business.
Wow. Yeah.
Is this where the console losers hang out?
Yeah, we're morons and we don't understand business, right? Who gives a fuck? That's what I'm saying. And it's so funny that he wants to talk like he understands business, right? We all know what his business is. That's what I'm saying. Does having a firm understanding, does having knowledge about this, does that make the console cheap, right? Does that take down the price hike, right? Or does that allow you to sympathize with the corporation? Because it seems like that's what you're doing, Lono.
They're not going to bring prices down even if stuff gets better. Street Shadow with a $20 super chat says GTA 6 is still going.
Oh God, right? GTA 6, right? It's all just a revolving door. Okay, now listen to this, because then we end up getting into this conversation right here, which I'm just gonna let it play, right?
You have to raise prices for consumers on other goods. If PlayStation determines that this has damaged them to enough of a degree that margins are damaged, they will get the money somewhere. They'll lay people off. They'll shut studios down. And people will be like, yep, corporate greed. And it's like, no, it's a machine that if it doesn't run well, it won't run. You'll lose. You will lose.
Yeah, but they're obsessed with growth. All right? They don't want to just sustain. They want to see that line go up, even if it comes at the expense of consumers. That's why it's so funny that you want to get up here and defend it and hand wave it.
Lose your job, you will lose your standing, you'll lose your solvency, you'll lose your investors, you'll lose all of it. You can get sued by your shareholders if you don't protect their earnings, if you don't honor your fiduciary duty. So these
yeah. PlayStation had a fiduciary duty, dude. They didn't want to do this, right? Don't say that they're greed, right? That's just ignorant.
Companies are like, yeah, we have to do these things.
Yeah, why then do you support these companies?
You sound like a PS5 cheerleader.
Oh, because he's a PlayStation cheerleader.
The whole economic climate right now is having an impact on like everything. We didn't renew coffee, boys. We didn't renew coffee. We're selling through the medium roast and the light roast. Why? It's really expensive right now.
And you'll be the main person up here trying to give business advice. All right, when your coffee isn't even doing too well, right? Like on some the quarter and shit. But you'll get up here and try to talk about business. I find it hilarious.
Like, I can't justify it. I'm a business. I operate as a business. I was like, that's too much capital for me right now. No.
Yeah.
I got to weather this storm. I can't weather this storm by spending. That's not a way to weather the storm right now.
Yeah, you weather it by begging. Right? That's your way of getting through the storm, right? Through the tough times, right? Shout out to Gourmet, man. Sony has just made the prices match the scalpers' prices. It's the PS5. The PS5 when it first came out. Yeah, I heard that they were scalping the shit out of that damn thing, right? And mind you, I'm pretty sure that was during the goddamn pandemic, right? I mean, shit is insane. Insane. That's why what I've been saying, I'll say the same shit that I said with Marlon, the same shit I said with Dreamcast guy. Boy, oh boy, do these guys got their work cut out. How in the hell are they gonna glaze PlayStation? Because we know that's a lion's share of their content, right? Defending this corporation. We'll see just how far they'll go defending this shit.